Hey class, okay, so I changed my subject to the history of Luxembourg. I changed it to the subject because it has a lot of meaning to me since I have a lot of background history there. My great 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 grandpa was a baron, which is an honor from a noble in Luxembourg. Him and a group of people actually went across the sea to the United States and started their own city called Rolling Stone in Minnesota. They made the city only available for Catholics or Luxembourgers in order to keep the bloodline pure. Because the bloodline stayed pure throughout my family, my grandpa was 100% Luxembourg, which made me a quarter Luxembourg. My grandpa actually started a college over there in a castle named Ausenberg Castle, where my mom and her three sisters lived for 6 years. He was the executive director, and it was called the Vida International Study Center. This was where college students from the United States could study abroad. He owned it for about 10 years. I actually have a brochure here that shows the entire castle and what it would be like to study abroad in Luxembourg, and it has all the different classes that you could take. And so, some of the history of Luxembourg is that Luxembourg is one of the smallest countries in the world. You can drive across the whole country in a little over an hour. The country borders Germany, Belgium, and France. The population is over 500,000 people in 999 square miles. There are mainly castles throughout it because there is nothing lower than upper middle class in the entire country. Because the country is so small, people may believe that it must belong to one of its bordering countries, but in reality, it is one of the most wealthy and powerful countries in all of Europe. It is actually the world's second largest investment fund center after the United States, the most important private banking center in the Eurozone, and Europe's leading center for reinsurance companies. Skype and eBay are two of the many internet companies that have shifted their regional headquarters there. There are three languages in Luxembourg. They are French, German, and Luxembourgish. Luxembourgish is the prominent language that has origins from both German and French. The language is not a well-known language because it is not written and cannot be taught exactly. Many of the Luxembourgish people will speak Luxembourgish, but they do not typically write it or teach it in schools. German is the first language that is taught in schools there, and French is the language that they teach in secondary schools. English is taught in the compulsory schooling, and much of the population of Luxembourg can speak English. So if you're interested in going there, you will typically not run into many language barriers. Luxembourg is a parliamentary democracy headed by a constitutional monarch. Under the Constitution of 1868, executive power is exercised by the Grand Duke and the Cabinet, which consists of several other ministers. The governor has the power to dissolve the legislature and reinstate a new one, as long as the Grand Duke has judicial approval. However, since 1919, sovereignty has resided with the Supreme Court. Legislative power is vested in the Chamber of Deputies, a unicameral legislature of 60 members who are directly elected in 5-year terms from the constituencies. A second body, the Council of State, composed of 21 ordinary citizens appointed by the Grand Duke, advises the Chamber of Deputies in the drafting legislation. The Grand Duchy has 3 lower tribunals, 2 district tribunals, and a Supreme Court of Justice, which includes the Court of Appeal and Constitutional Court, all of which are located in the capital. When it comes to military, Luxembourg has a small army, and it consists of around 800 people. As a landlocked country, it tends to lack Air Force planes, but there is registered 17 Air Force ready planes, and it also has no Navy. Dealing with religion, Luxembourg has become a secular state. In a 2005 poll, 44% of Luxembourg citizens responded that they believe there is a God, whereas 28% said that they believe there is some sort of spirit or life force, and 22% that they do believe or that they do not believe there is any sort of spirit, God, or life force. The religion in countries consist of Roman Catholicism, Judaism, Greek Orthodoxy, Anglicanism, Russian Orthodoxy, Lutheranism, and Islam. I'm very proud of my heritage because most people can't say that they're Luxembourg, or let alone a full quarter of it. From pictures, the small country looks very beautiful, and it's one of my dreams to visit it in my future. My parents want to take me to the castle where my grandpa started the college in order for me to gain knowledge of both my family's history as well as to see part of him since he died before I was born. I hope you guys gain knowledge about this amazing country and wish to go there sometime in the future like I do. So thank you for listening to my speech.